Hi everyone, my name is Shaunette G, and I am a grade 12 student here at CKSS. This is my vlog review of my ISU novel for the CKSS Reads competition. So the novel that I chose was The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, written by Agatha Christie. If you don't know who she is the most widely published author of all time. She is only ever outsold by the Bible and Shakespeare, to believe it or not. She writes murder mysteries. As you can see, it says a Queen of Mystery right here. And her books always leave you wanting more. She has sold actually billions of books, and in English and in hundreds of other foreign languages. I have previously read one of her other books called And Then There Were None. It's basically the same setup as this book, where you have the murder and then you're guessing throughout the book, you're trying to find out who the murderer was, and you're going through all of the evidence. Honestly, that was another amazing read, just like this one. But today, I'm here to talk to you about this book. So basically, this book is about the murder of one of King Abbott's. King Abbott is a small town in England, so it's about one of King Abbott's most wealthiest men who has been murdered. As the summary on the back of the book reads, Roger Ackroyd knew too much. He knew that the woman he loved had poisoned her brutal first husband. He suspected also that someone had been blackmailing her. Then tragically came the news that she had taken her own life with a drug overdose. But the Evening Post brought Roger one last fatal scrap of information. Unfortunately, before he could finish reading the letter, he was stabbed to death. As you can tell, this book is extremely suspenseful, and to be completely honest, I did really enjoy reading it. With every chapter, I felt as if it was like as if I couldn't put it down, because every time you read, something was being discovered by former detective Monsieur Poirot and Dr. Shepherd. The book is told in first person, which is completely fine. So it's told by the main character, Dr. Shepherd, who's the town's local doctor and an aspiring detective. He enjoys a good murder mystery and a good detective novel, and he thinks he has the skills. So early on in the book, Dr. Shepherd is joined by Monsieur Poirot, a retired detective, to help solve the murder of Roger Ackroyd. Now, start analyzing the book a bit more. I'm not too sure, but I believe that this book has some metafiction in it. Throughout the story, you start to realize that some of the points that the main character, Dr. Shepherd, is telling the reader does not add up. At first, it almost seems as if Dr. Shepherd was writing the story as a journal, and every step of the way throughout the investigation, he was letting the reader in on what was going on, but purposefully leaving out minor details that are revealed at the end of the book. At the end of the story, you are told a lot of information. So when it comes to the actual language or the diction of the novel, it is very plain. Agatha Christie, the author, does use many metaphors, but it's not really a metaphor, traditional metaphor. It's more of a play on words. The way that she writes the stories is as if the reader is guessing, constantly guessing. She does not let the characters fully develop their thoughts and tell the reader right away. She gives you hints. So she will basically give you evidence and a little bit of a little backstory of what happened, and then she won't tell you what the characters actually think until later on. She will make the characters say certain things, almost like a riddle, and leave the reader guessing what the meaning behind this truly is. Even though this book was written in the 1920s, 1926 to be specific, you feel as if you're actually there when you're reading it. The imagery in this book is put in a way that you're not so much looking at the nature or the setting or the scenery, you're looking right into the actual investigation, so you're right there with them every step. The words that are used to describe certain tasks or objects are not from the year 2017, but are from the year 1926. The writing is full of detail, but there are so few words. Like, the book is pretty small print, but it is not very wordy. Like, she uses minimal words to describe something. So when in one sentence you're getting the character's train of thought, and in this you're exposed to what life, like what their world was like back then. Going back, I mainly think this is because of the diction. The use of words such as housemaid or barmaid are present, but also the reference to the different households by name of estate is incredible. So instead of referring to the house as their address, they would refer to it as the name of the estate, like the Fernley or the Larches. It really does set the stage for the book. To speak about character development, there is a lot of character development through the book and the course of the investigation. You are introduced to the characters through the perspective of Dr. Shepard, almost as if you have known them already. So when you meet a character in this book, you will approach them through Dr. Shepard's eyes, and he will introduce you, he'll have a conversation, ask them how their life is going, ask them how they're feeling, you know, like a normal conversation with somebody you see every day. Every other day, maybe. But throughout the book, you are told the character's deepest secrets and personality traits. So, even though you know the people, throughout the book and reading and going through the investigation, you are learning their deepest, darkest secrets. This is an extremely effective way of developing characters because the reader hits the ground running. Because it's as if they've known the characters already and are only later on in the book or in life, as like if they knew the characters already, they're only finding out things that they have been doing. There are a few major themes in this novel. So the first one that I found is greed, more specifically greed as a downfall. Basically, this book starts off with the death of one of the wealthiest women. She's taken her own life because someone was blackmailing her. Not to give any spoilers, but later on you are taken through the investigation and the reasons behind all of the things that the characters do is because of the need for money or the need for more money. Basically greed. The reason why both of the murders between Mrs. Faraz and Mr. Ackroyd happen is because they were both wealthy and because of money. The second theme that I found that is very present in this book is love. Believe it or not, it is a murder mystery, but love is still very present. You witness the actions that love has made and like how it has affected the characters. They almost commit crimes of passion. Many of the characters do certain things or act a certain way because of their love affairs that are happening behind the scenes that they don't want anybody else to know about. So at points they do want their love affairs to be known, but they know that they can't be known because of the consequences that they would face. They're afraid about the consequences they would face in the public eye. Therefore, they take extremely drastic measures to keep their love affairs hidden. The only thing, although this was an amazing book, the only thing that it did lack that I felt was not very important, but I noticed it, was the feeling of foreshadowing. You would think because this is a murder mystery, you would have a lot of foreshadowing and the author would be telling you everything that's going to be happening after when you notice something, but there isn't. There is absolutely no foreshadowing up until the end of this book, like the complete end where they're revealing the murderer. There was zero foreshadowing. This was not a major factor for me, but you could still see it. The reason there was no foreshadowing is because you're constantly guessing. You're always guessing what's going to happen next, and there is no evidence to tell you what's going to happen because everything is in the moment. You're being told what's happening right there, right then, and you're being taken through the investigation with Dr. Shepard and Monsieur Perot, and you just know that all the evidence that they're giving you is what they're thinking. And if you were in the same situation, you would be thinking those things too, so you don't really need the foreshadowing. Due to the fact that everything was happening right at the moment, like I said, there was no particular need for the foreshadowing. So this vlog is coming to an end. So I just wanted to say, so in conclusion, I do highly, 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 highly recommend this book for the CKSS Reads competition. Even if this book does not win, it is a must read. Like anything. Like, in fact, any book that Agatha Christie writes is a must read, especially And Then There Were None, because basically the plot is the characters were all summoned to this island, and then once they got there, all of this murder happened, and then over the course of like 10 days, all 10 people began to die off, and they, at the end of the book, they're trying to figure out who killed them, and it's a giant plot twist, and it's amazing. You can't put it down. Agatha Christie's writing style and tone are so precise that she does not leave you any room for your own thoughts. All of the thoughts that you're having in this book are from the characters, because there's so much evidence and there's so many like plot twists and like little fine details that you wouldn't have noticed unless the characters tell you. So you have no room for your own thoughts because they're all in here already. The one thing that I love about Agatha Christie is that she answers your questions and your doubts throughout the process of character development and the plot development. So unlike other books where you're left with a cliffhanger and you have some unanswered questions, she ties up all of her loose ends. She makes sure that everything that was introduced in the book is reintroduced later on when you're going through the investigation, and you know what happened and how that particular piece of evidence relates to the murderer. All of your doubts and your questions are all 100% answered, and you will not regret you won't regret reading this book. Her writing style is almost as if it's a journal format. So she writes in the moment things are happening, so you know everything is happening right there. Like I said, you're going through with Dr. Shepard and Monsieur Perot through the investigation, everything's happening right at the moment, and you know because he goes through his day, you'd be like, oh, like he went here, he had this patient, he did this, he had this conversation, everything is happening, and you're right there with him. And this allows for the reader to catch up an explanation. So like they'll say things and you won't really get it at the point, but then later on in the book, when other things are introduced, you'll go back, the book goes back and it introduces things and it explains all of its thoughts, which is really good. This book is just truly a really great read. It's a very easy read, but it's not at the same time. It makes you think a little bit because it's a mystery, but it is a really good read, and I would suggest it as like a holiday read or anything like that if you just want to read a book. I don't know if it's just because it's a murder mystery or if because Agatha Christie wrote it, but this is amazing. This book was really, truly, really good. I do highly, like I said, recommend this book for a read. Anyways, thank you for watching my vlog, and I truly hope that you read this book, and I hope that this book does win for the CKSS Reads competition. Thank you. Bye.